Welcome to TMZ Live. Harvey Levin here.
Charles here.
So the Diddy trial starts on Monday, and we know the star witness in this case, absolutely positively, is going to be Cassie Ventura, Diddy's ex-girlfriend, who is also, everybody knows, on this horrific tape. Well, take a look at Cassie. She is out in New York.
That's her in New York today, and looking. We knew she was pregnant, and we hadn't seen her since really February when they announced that she was pregnant, but she seems pretty far along, and she will be testifying next week, taking the stand. We think that she'll testify next week, but that is going to have some impact, one hell of an impact on the jury.
We have talked about before how appearance makes a difference in cases. How Diddy's appearance, wearing a sweater, having gray hair and glasses and whatnot, that it's all designed for something. Well, optics make a difference in court. And when you think about what this case is about, this is about the defense saying that not only did Diddy lead a swingers lifestyle, but so did Cassie. And that this was all consensual, and that they are saying there is no fraud, coercion, anything like that. When you look at Cassie getting on the stand, the jury is going to have to reconcile that image with the description or the picture that the defense is painting.
Well, and also they're going to hear her side of the story as she looks like that, and she's going to be telling, if she's refuting Diddy's version that that was their lifestyle and that it was all consensual, I would imagine she's going to say some version of, I wanted out and I was just afraid to leave.
Well, by the way, in a way, we already know what Cassie is going to say because she filed a lawsuit.
Right.
And she laid it out in great detail.
Right.
And said that there was fraud and coercion and force in this situation.
Looking the way she looks,
it makes a big difference.
It's more believable.
And what will be most interesting to me is how they handle cross-examination, right? I mean, the Diddy's defense team does have to paint her as part of a consensual swinger-style relationship with Diddy for a number of years, but reconciling that with her pregnant belly, that fact that she's already a mother to, I believe, 2 other children, and painting her in that negative light is going to be very delicate in front of that jury, and I don't know how you can really pull it off.
And it will be difficult for Diddy's attorney, whoever's doing the cross-examining, to push her. You can't, you know what I mean? Like, you can't go back against her. You can't refute things she's saying and be aggressive with her.
And by the way, what's going to be really important here is that Cassie video, because clearly they're going to play the Cassie video when she's on the stand, and they're going to ask her about that in great detail.
And she is going to tell her version of, we know that Diddy has said all along that it was not about forcing her to stay. This wasn't a freak-off situation. He said that they had an argument about her finding another woman's number on his phone.
Now, if she refutes that, how are they going to challenge her?
Right.
Because that's going to be, optically, a very difficult situation for the defense.
You know, Harvey, I've been thinking a lot about it. I wonder if the defense team will actually just take a pass, let her give her direct testimony and move along pretty quickly because there's other witnesses that they'll be able to be more aggressive with, maybe, who take the stand than Cassie.
If she is the first witness to take the stand, and you tell me just strategy-wise whether this would be a good thing for the prosecutors to do. If she's the first person to take the stand, you're playing from behind if you're Diddy's team, right? Now you're in the hole right away with the jury because let's just Cassie's going to be come out on top in that exchange. Now you're playing from behind. Does it make more sense as the prosecutors to have her go first, a strong leadoff, or do you wait a couple of witnesses and then bring her in?
Well, they've said they are going to call 2 minor witnesses and then another witness. So I'm a little surprised that they're calling 2 minor witnesses first, not underage. They're just talking about people who are not central to the case.
Right.
I don't know who they are. In fact, what I'm told is neither does the defense. They haven't revealed it yet. Now, that may have changed, and I don't know, but because at some point they've got to give notice of who is taking the stand. Look, I mean, Cassie is everything in this case, and she sets it up.
So would you start with her if you were?
I thought they would start. I thought they would start with her.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I thought out of the box they would start with Cassie, because she can tell a complete story. Everybody else, in a sense, is additive. Now, there's something else. Speaking of ex-girlfriends, there are 3 ex-girlfriends. One is not cooperating, and the prosecution, it seems, is having great difficulty getting her to come to court to testify.
They have described her. They've said this is victim 3 in the indictment, and she is. We know an ex-girlfriend. Know that she's an ex-girlfriend.
Right.
And there was a whole exchange about her in court this week where they said, we're having trouble getting her to come in, that she has some conflict. She's got things going on in her personal life. And it was described by the government as almost like she wants to be here, but we're not sure we're going to be able to get her here. We're talking to her lawyer. And
They didn't say it in those words,
Yeah.
but our sources are saying she has been uncooperative from the get-go, and did not want to testify. And I'm just finding this really fascinating, because what are they going to do on Monday when they deliver opening statements? Because an opening statement is when you lay out the case. You're going to hear from so-and-so, and so-and-so, and so-and-so. So the question, are they going to reference this woman if they can't deliver? Because what you don't want to do...
Well, they have to remember, she's in the indictment as victim 3. They can't just ignore one of the victims that they put in the indictment.
They could.
I mean, the defense would tear them apart if they don't.
Well, they could. The defense isn't going to say they didn't mention another alleged victim. So I don't think the defense is going to say that if they don't reference it. But I don't see how they reference it unless they have a lock that she's going to show up. Because if she doesn't show up, it's a problem.
Yeah, and it's a devastating development for the prosecution, because remember, that first indictment they brought just had Cassie. It had victim number 1, and they've sort of cobbled together a case.
They added 2, and
where
then they added 1.
Right, and they've added them because they knew they needed to bolster their case beyond Cassie, because he can always say, I was in a long-term relationship with Cassie. They needed more people. And so this is a critical piece of the prosecution's case. To have that witness potentially not show up is a devastating blow for them.
Hi, my name is Maritza. I'm from New York City. I think the defense team has their job cut out for them. Watching Cassie on the stand, tears probably coming out of her eyes, pregnant. It's hard not to see him as a monster, especially after watching that video. I think that the defense team needs to show a lot of footage, maybe pictures of them and happy moments to show that this was like a relationship. She didn't leave because she was in love. That's the only way they can go, because they cannot put pressure on her. She's pregnant. They will look like a monstrous team altogether.
It is going to be, this is going to be
Quite the tap
very
dance.
delicate.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to move on.
Yes, moving on to Drake and his lawsuit against his label, Universal Music Group. Universal Music Group has now filed a motion to dismiss this whole thing, and they say...
Can we just say his label?
His label, right, suing his own label for defamation over Not Like Us, Kendrick Lamar's hit, which Kendrick Lamar is also on Universal. So UMG says, look, he has proven that this lawsuit was only filed because he's bitter about losing a rap battle, and it's evident because he's trying to call out the fact that Kendrick Lamar performed the song in the Super Bowl halftime show. And that's the whole defamation part of this, is that Drake is upset about the line certified pedophile.
Well, he added that, didn't he? The Super Bowl.
He added that to the lawsuit.
Right.
After Kendrick's performance, Drake added it to the lawsuit. And now UMG is saying, come on, this is ridiculous, because just watch the performance. He didn't say those words. He didn't say certified pedophile.
But the crowd did.
Well, the crowd certainly filled in the blanks,
Right.
Particularly when it got to the part that everybody sings, A minor.
Baka got a weird case, why I see around certified lover boy, certified.
Yeah, and then it went on there, but he didn't even, that wasn't censored. He just did not say the words.
Yeah, as time goes on, like the argument that this lawsuit was for a crusade for artists and, artist rights, it just continues to wear thin, like it does look like that he's still bitter over the rap beef that, people were. It's been a year, so there's a lot of deep dives, a lot of rethinks, a lot of reimaginings
but Trent,
going
the
on.
deep dives are important here, because what the label is saying is Drake is a hypocrite because he himself
said things that, right, and they said, look, you know, Drake has, in the past, made a big point about rap artists in general should not be held, you know, to their lyrics like they're factual. You said they're metaphorical. This is hyperbole. It's what we do.
That's a great point, because if Family Matters would have blew up, you know, I don't even know if this lawsuit gets filed. You know,
Which
they
was
might still be
Drake's
going
song.
at it. You know, that's Drake's diss song, Family Matters. Academics thinks it's the best song of the beef, but not like us, and Euphoria got the most attention.
Right. So that's why they're saying, just throw this thing out, Judge. This is just a bitter artist.
I don't see how the judge doesn't.
Johnny Benitez, Brooklyn, New York. I think it's like a very typical strategy for their initial thing to say, let's just dismiss the case and see how that progresses and see if there's pushback. But in regards to Kendrick Lamar not saying the word pedophile during the lawsuit, he baited, or during the Super Bowl performance, he baited them into saying it. The audience, it was implied. And it's almost like Kendrick Lamar got coached by a lawyer. Like, listen, you're going to be performing at the Super Bowl. Drake might be taking legal action. So it's very critical that you do not say the word pedophile. You could say this, and that, get your fun out of it. But this was literally designed for Kendrick Lamar to get away with implying it without saying it. And I can't deny the fact that the label benefits tremendously from Drake's public opinion going down from losing this rap beef. So in negotiations, it might have actually benefited the label and say, hey, we don't want to give you $500 billion for your next deal. We want to give you 100 because look at your reputation now. And the label benefits from that, and you just can't deny that.
By the way, your place is really cool. It's really architecturally interesting. I got a problem with a washer dryer, but aside from that,
you know, the crazy thing is, it's actually my birthday today. So if you wanted to give me a new washer and dryer, I'd be like more than willing.
Sorry, we're out of time. Sorry.
Oh, we got to move on.
Okay, we got to take a break.
Yes, when we come back, Simon Cowell. Simon Cowell's got an offer to judge a new type of show, a very personal one. You're going to hear him explain why someone offered him $150,000. Watch them having sex. Simon Cowell has been an incredible judge on television, right? A huge success with American Idol, America's Got Talent,
X Factor.
X Factor. The man knows judging.
Honestly, he is probably more recognizable as a judge than the Supreme Court.
You know what? To most of America, I think you were right.
Absolutely.
They would recognize him more than they would any of the Supreme Court
Did you
judges.
hear, actually, I'm sorry for the aside. Chief Justice John Roberts gave a speech, I think over the weekend, and he was talking about how recognizable he is. And he said, I am so unrecognizable that somebody came up to me and said, I know you, I know you're
on TV.
No, he said, you're John Bonner. You're Congressman Bonner. Yeah.
Oh,
and he does kind of look like him.
He does
look like him. But it was like.
He can't even get.
He can't even get right.
Chief Justice.
He's a Chief Justice.
Well, Simon Cowell would not have any such problem, which might explain why he got an offer to judge something I'm fairly certain he has never judged before.
But it's a good offer.
It's a very good offer. 6 figures, and it's a one-time gig, I believe. So
right.
Here's what he had to say.
Most people have to pay for this.
One time, it's a true story. I was in a restaurant, and this guy comes up to me, and he said, I love your show. Thank you very much. Will you take a picture? Sure. This is my wife. Nice to meet you. Would you judge us having sex? I'm like, are you winding me up? They went, no. We'll pay you. I said, well, how much? And it actually was a lot of money. I thought, do I? No, I just can't do it.
It was 150 grand.
It was 150 grand, yeah.
Here's what I love.
He asked how much.
How much?
Right. He
didn't say
that's
no.
Crazy.
He wanted to know how much. So he has a price.
Yeah, I was going to say what the follow-up question should be is what the price is, because, I mean, 150K, that probably isn't much to Simon Cowell, right? The guy's worth millions and millions of dollars.
Yeah, but also, for most likely a 10-minute gig.
Right.
You don't want to see just anyone have sex. I also need to know what these people looked like. Right?
Oh, that doesn't
matter.
Okay, right. You just act like that's not relevant to you.
It isn't relevant. If you're getting 150, look, all right, what if they offer 200,000?
Right, 150,000.
Okay, the uglier you are, the more you have to offer. Sure. All right? So
yes.
What if they offered 300,000?
I know. He's going to have a price at some point, right? I mean, the fact that he asked how much, Simon has a price.
So if you're really good looking, do you just say, look, we'll give you $20. Go on. Come on.
Hi, my name is Audrina from Chicago, and Simon is too mainstream to network kind of family TV for this. So with the American Idol, the America's Got Talent, this is so far off his brand, no matter how much money it is.
I don't think there were going to be cameras. I'm sure it wasn't going to be.
No, it's really funny.
Wasn't going to be
By the way,
live stream.
did I tell you I read John Bonner's autobiography? I actually read
John
that book.
Bonner, really?
I know. Okay, we got to move on.
Yes, moving on to a very
This is
terrifying sight for Jennifer Aniston. The man who police arrested for crashing onto her property earlier this week when he tried to drive through her gate. He has now been charged with stalking. And the LA County DA announced this, saying, we have found evidence on social media of him for years saying all sorts of things about Jennifer Aniston. This is him
in court,
appearing in court. Mr. Cowell was wearing, that's a suicide prevention jacket or robe that they put on him.
Yeah, very disturbing. And as you can imagine, they had said that they're going to do a mental evaluation to determine, if he's okay, if he's in his right mind. He's also been ordered to stay 100 yards away from Jennifer Aniston. Obviously, he was charged with felony stalking, felony vandalism. But yeah, I mean, what a sight of him kind of shirtless with that blanket. He just looks like he doesn't know where he is.
As you look at that video, it underscores something we've talked about before, which is the dilemma for high-profile people, or really anybody, because there are people. I got a call from somebody 2 days ago who was, and it's not a famous person at all, it's a friend who was telling me about his friend who has a stalker, and they don't know what to do about it. The reality is this, that there is a restraining order, and you can get arrested for a restraining order and all, but the people least likely to follow a restraining order and obey it are stalkers, because they're almost by definition unhinged.
We have seen some of these social media posts that police were referring to, and they are really, very rambling, hard to understand, but there are several references to Jennifer Aniston. One where he even refers to her as his bride.
And we've seen that a million times.
Yeah.
Where people have these delusions that they're married to somebody, that they're going to see their wife, that their wife wants them, but somebody's keeping them away. There's a playbook for this.
And I think it's the tone of those messages why he's now getting this mental evaluation.
But it's a problem, because then what do you do? He gets a mental evaluation, goes to prison for a while. If he gets convicted, gets out.
But depending on the evaluation, he'll also get treatment while he's in prison, correct?
Yeah, that's the theory. It doesn't work often. And it is and it's like, what does Jennifer Aniston do when she goes out? What is she worried about? Does she need a bodyguard? What are they looking for? She has bodyguards, and he crashed through the gate. It is one of those areas of law that doesn't work.
As of right now, as we're doing this, he is still
because he has bail.
And bail is $150,000,
right.
So we'll see what happens.
Stevie Derrick, Indianapolis, Indiana. I feel really sorry for celebrities or anybody who has to deal with like a stalker being in their space, because that causes a level of anxiety and pressure for them to just have to change their entire life around to run around and run away from this person. But I'm glad that the person was caught and Jennifer is safe.
It's just a really tough situation.
I'm sure, now on high alert.
Okay, we're taking a break.
When we come back, the new nominee for Surgeon General, Dr. Cassie Means. There are people in the Trump administration celebrating this, notably RFK Jr., the HHS secretary. But there are a lot of critics who feel that Dr. Means' views on modern medicine don't align with someone who should be leading America's leading doctor. We're going to be joined by Vani Hari, who is leader of the Make America Healthy Again movement. We'll get her take on the nominee.
TMZ's got every freaking thing. Big celebs, big stories, big events.
Justin Timberlake made Portland kids' dream come true by joining a bike bus ride. And they always listen to Justin Timberlake.
Cry me a river when they fall. Yeah, right.
It's TMZ.
Welcome back to TMZ Live. President Trump has nominated someone to be the new Surgeon General. And there are some people who are celebrating this. I think probably a lot of people in RFK Jr.'s world.
It aligns perfectly with him.
Yes. And then there are a lot of people who are raising an eyebrow, wondering how someone, her name is Cassie Means, and she is really become a big influencer in line with a lot of the things that RFK has said about the Make America Healthy Again movement. But her medical license is inactive, Casey means, and also there are people who question some of her views on Western medicine and wonder if that's the right person to be Surgeon General.
Can I just say on one thing? Going inactive for a medical license, to me, that's irrelevant. You look at the credentials and you look at the views, and that's what's important.
Right.
Whether she's active or inactive, you know, it doesn't matter.
She did actually.
Does she have the goods?
Yeah, she got a medical license.
Yeah, does she have the goods?
Well, joining us right now to discuss that is someone we've had on the show before, Vani Hari, who is a big-time leader in the Make America Healthy Again movement. And she is joining us right now. Vani, welcome back to TMZ Live.
Thank you. Nice to see you.
It's good seeing you. So the rap on this nominee by critics is that she feels that pharma is the enemy of Americans. That's what they say, that she is viewing pharma almost conspiratorially, that they're trying to make people sicker. And again, this is what the critics are saying, and that she is pushing people away from useful drugs, drugs that would prevent measles and other things.
She's very much into the holistic movement based on her social media.
The critics are saying she is against traditional medicine. That's the way they're viewing her. What do you say to that?
The fact that President Trump has nominated someone like Dr. Casey means, first off, shows that he means business when it comes on changing the healthcare system and changing the health of Americans. Right now, we have the worst chronic disease rates out of any country compared to our other developing nations, but we spend the most on healthcare. Our medical system is incentivized for doctors to continue to prescribe, to continue to do surgeries, to continue to do surveillance and other mechanisms, and not award the doctors on actually providing true health for Americans. And this is why Dr. Casey Means decided to quit the profession, because the incentives were wrong and they weren't leading to a healthier America. And so she is at the forefront of an amazing movement, and she is the glue to the Make America Healthy Again movement. When I found out she was nominated, I screamed so loud, I think the entire neighborhood heard. Dr. Casey Means believes that we should all be the CEO of our own health, that we should take back control of our health, that we should learn how to solve our health problems, and by looking at food as medicine. And it's incredible to have her as a pick.
Vani, I think one of the things that concerns the critics is the fact that, you know, Dr. Means, RFK Jr., the HHS secretary, has celebrated her nomination just the way you have. And a lot of her beliefs seem to fall in line with his, but this comes at a time when people are questioning the HHS secretary's views, especially on the measles vaccine with the outbreak that's happening now. And he has said that people should get the measles vaccine if you're young, or you should make that choice.
Yeah.
He is
He's
not
vacillated. He's
against
vacillated
it as he was before.
I don't understand why we are still having breathless coverage about a measles outbreak that has been the case year after year after year, where we have a couple of measles outbreaks. Unfortunately,
well, Vani, it's more than a couple.
This is the biggest outbreak in decades.
Not if you look at the historical data of where it's
No,
gone.
it is. It's factually the biggest. It's the
real
biggest
risk for children. No, but you know, we can argue this all day long. But what we have to focus on at the same respect is we have this breathless coverage about the measles outbreak, but we're not talking about how so many children are getting childhood cancer, or the fact that 38% of preteens are now pre-diabetic, that we're looking at giving...
No, we should talk about those things. You're right.
But both should be looked at, right? I mean, I agree with you. And that was one of the alarming things when they were doing health cuts. They were cutting childhood diabetes research at HHS.
I mean, let's just be honest here, okay? Let's look at this. Secretary Kennedy just got into office. He cannot be blamed for any of the measles outbreak, okay? To pit him on that is unacceptable. But let's talk about the root causes of why we are so sick in America and what we can do to solve that. We are at a crossroads where we have the highest rates of chronic disease, and every single former HHS head has miserably failed the American public. We've had more cancer, more heart disease, more diabetes instead of less.
I think everybody agrees. I think the issue
disagreement is the.
Well, yeah, I mean, and we should deal with that. And a lot of it does have to do with food. But why does it have to be either or? I mean, why can't we not view pharma as the enemy and just say there is a place for it, and to start looking at food more critically and health more critically in other areas? But it's not this, you're my friend or you're my enemy, which is what it's feeling like.
I don't think she's anti-pharma. I don't think that's what she is her message. But her message has always been, how do we take back control of our health? How do we use food as medicine? How can we prevent all of these chronic diseases with root cause analysis, with lifestyle habits, by getting enough sleep, looking at other measures in your house and your stress levels and other things, and how to use the diagnostics to our advantage.
Okay, well, look, we really appreciate, as always, having you on. Thank you.
Bye.
Appreciate it. Okay, we got to take a break.
All right. When we come back, it's never happened before. An American Pope announced this morning at the Vatican. He's from Chicago. And when we come back, you're going to see President Trump's perhaps surprising reaction to this historic moment. Welcome back to TMZ Live. Brand new Pope. And
white smoke.
And a very historic moment after the white smoke. They introduced.
Look at his face. It's so interesting that all of a sudden he's the Pope, and it's so jarring.
I always think that moment when they walk out.
They're like, holy. Well, they can't say holy.
No. Wow. And yeah, there you go. That took all of about 10 seconds to go right off the rails. Yes. Cardinal Robert Prevost, who is from Chicago. There has never been an American Pope before.
Isn't that interesting?
And he has taken the name Pope Leo XIV. He was introduced this morning, and it was obviously an incredible moment for a lot of. They were kept showing Americans who were in St. Peter's Square, and they were, waving flags and just crying, and obviously very happy that they were there for such an historic moment. He was not. I know this is somewhat sacrilegious that there were betting lines on who was going to be the new Pope.
Yeah.
And
I think a lot of people they didn't think an American was going to get picked.
No.
I've been following this, and I don't know who any of these guys are outside of Cardinal Timothy Dolan from New York, but he was not even in the top 30 on the betting odds. So I think this is a complete shocker.
Well,
although
this is one of the greatest upsets. It's a shocker to people in Vegas.
Yeah, this is one of the greatest upsets in papal history.
Oh my God. That's our sports.
Well, now we've
really,
really gone off the rails. But it is in line. Look, when Pope Francis was elected, he was the first from the Americas at all, and now they've gone 2 in a row.
So apparently, the two of them, Francis and Leo,
They
went
were
to
seminary.
They were seminary colleagues.
Exactly, and also folks at Villanova University probably celebrating because. He studied there back in the day.
So Donald Trump had some.
Now remember that was it last weekend or last week that
he wanted him. He was nominating himself.
He had posted that AI photo, which did not go over very well with his buddy Cardinal Dolan in New York. Gave him a little rap on the wrist. So maybe that's why he had a very reserved response to today's election. He said, "Congratulations to Cardinal Robert Francis Prevost, who was just named Pope. It is such an honor to realize that he is the first American Pope. What excitement and what a great honor for our country. I look forward to meeting Pope Leo XIV. It will be a very meaningful moment." That was the most gracious, respectful, presidential
I don't know how the
statement ever.
Pope is going to feel about Trump, though, honestly, because, and we're just all learning about the Pope, the new Pope now, but he's a very progressive guy from what I'm reading.
It's unclear, though, Babcock. I mean, one of the big issues is how he'll deal with gays, transgenders, members of the LGBTQ community in the Catholic Church. And it's ambiguous. It's not clear whether he is as progressive as his predecessor. It's just unclear right now. He hasn't really taken a stand, which may, by the way, be why they picked him, because you've got two camps there. And, you know, it seems like if you're a hardline on one camp, the other side is not going to be into it.
So what you're saying is you want to know what the chatter was in conclave.
Well, you know that they're looking at where's the church going to go, depending on who runs it. And if you take one side or the other side, whichever side you take, the other side's not going to be happy. So the middle is probably where they're going to go. You think?
I mean, essentially,
they need 2/3 vote.
Right, and if they've elected someone who they at least say was very much in line with Francis on some things, maybe they feel like we're not veering one way or the other.
So he's from Chicago. My law school roommate, I texted him, who's from Chicago. I said, "Do you know the Pope?" He's a Catholic, and he texts me, "No, I'm just trying to process the fact that I'm older than the Pope." What's happened?
So are you.
Hello, my name is Honor, and I'm in Washington, D.C. As someone that grew up going to Catholic school, it was always so exciting to learn about the secretive process of selecting a pope, and I couldn't be more excited that the new pope is originally from Chicago. As someone that was blessed to see the late Pope Francis in person, I am so excited to see how Pope Leo XIV steps into his shoes, and I can't wait to see how he leads the Catholic Church in the 21st century. And being that he's from Peru, I can't wait to see that Latin flavor in the Vatican.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, well, we should say, to clear that, he's from Chicago. He lived in Peru. In fact, was Archbishop in Peru. So he's, you know, I think he has dual citizenship. By the way, just a quick promo. On our other show, there's something very weird happened.
Oh, it's so weird.
The moment that the white smoke went up, we were talking about this and saying how, you know, talking about who the new pope could be.
And we thought, and frankly, the conversation was totally going downhill. And then all of a sudden somebody says, "White smoke."
We were saved by the Vatican.
Okay, we are going to move on.
Yes, to Smokey Robinson, who is, or his camp at least, is now responding to this bombshell lawsuit that was filed by 4 former housekeepers claiming sexual assault, saying that it happened multiple times while they were working for Smokey and his wife. Smokey himself has not said anything yet, but last night his lawyer gave us this response, as you would imagine, shooting down all of these allegations. He said, as this case progresses, the evidence, which is the crucial element that guides us, will show that this is simply an ugly method of trying to extract money from an 85-year-old American icon, $50 million to be exact.
So they're saying it's a money play.
Yes, and they also said that they are false and that the evidence will actually bear that out. We will see what happens going forward. They also said that eventually Smokey and perhaps even his wife will have a response in their own words. Smokey's wife is also being sued, not because they're alleging
they're saying she knew and didn't do anything.
Right, and did not do anything to protect them as employees.
Okay, we are going to take a break.
All right, when we come back, the Beckham family feud. There is a new voice speaking out, one of Brooklyn Beckham's ex-girlfriends. And you might be surprised whose side she's taking. Is it Brooklyn or is it David and Victoria? You will hear when we come back. In one corner, we have the young upstart, Brooklyn Beckham, and his wife, Nicola. And in the other corner, we have David Beckham and Victoria Beckham, Brooklyn's mommy and daddy.
Whose side are you on?
You got to choose a side, and
they all have.
They've chosen a side. This is the Beckham family feud that we've been telling you about.
Brooklyn and his wife are kind of the Meghan and Harry.
That's one version of it, but basically they are not seeing David and Victoria now, even though they weren't even at his 50th birthday party, because of a feud that started over his younger brother Romeo's new girlfriend. That's the umbrella here. So everyone is choosing sides, including people who no longer even associate with the Beckhams.
Now, this may shock you. He dated a reality star who was weighing in.
Wow, could you pour on the sarcasm any heavier? Lexi Wood, who you may know from Summer House, used to date back in the day, back in, 7 years ago, dated Brooklyn Beckham. And she says she's siding with David and Victoria, not her ex-boyfriend. And Lexi talked about this on Nick Viall's podcast.
Like Brooklyn, is in a great relationship, and I'm so happy for him. And I'm the type of ex that I'm actually friends with a lot of my exes, and I want them to move on.
David Beckham is often thought of as like one of the sexiest men alive. How does it feel to date someone whose dad is like kind of a daddy?
It's funny. I feel like he was just always Brooklyn's dad, but I see what you mean for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's hot. Yeah.
They're a beautiful family. Victoria, she's the style icon. Like they're the coolest family.
Who was more intimidating, David or Victoria?
I mean, I think that they were both. Yeah, they were just both
Victoria or Cindy.
lovely.
So for Lexi to say this, it's like, okay, well, she obviously must have met the parents. Well, guess what? We're told from sources close to Brooklyn that Lexi never even met the family. So strange.
That would be a shock that somebody who has no information about what they're like would weigh in. That's stunning.
You can't believe that. All right.
Okay, it is that time of the week, folks.
Your favorite time. Tim is here with his rejects. Give it to him, Tim.
So you've seen skateboarding dogs, even surfing dogs, but this might be the best one yet, skimboarding dogs. So this dog is out here skimboarding across the water there. Pretty fun.
I actually have seen dogs do that. It's actually
it's
really cool.
pretty cool.
It's really fun.
A little more exciting than surfing the wave, I think.
No, it's cool.
No, it's not more exciting than surfing.
I think so.
I like it. Next.
All right, so have you ever gone hiking and the terrain is a little too dangerous to walk, but you still want to get the hike in?
Actually, yes.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, well, now you can get an electric board that goes off-roading here.
This is no longer
you can go
hiking.
across
It's not hiking. Very dangerous.
It's not hiking, and it's stupid. That's ridiculous.
Hey, why don't you come skateboard on these rocks?
You're now negative something.
All right, so Charles, when you go skiing down the mountain, do you also play with a Frisbee?
Don't. I know exactly where your mind was, and no, I have not, Tim. That would be very unsafe. You should not do this.
You shouldn't do this, but this crew here did. So one person going down the hill, another person throwing a long Frisbee shot there. As you can see, it's going down the hill along with the skier, and perfect catch.
Yeah.
Pretty
I
good.
mean, luckily, there's nobody else on the mountain.
And there was no tree right there.
Yeah.
I mean,
still there is a tree.
Yeah.
I don't know what's more impressive, though, the throw or the catch.
I'm pretty sure wherever they were skiing would not be a fan of that.
Hey, here's the thing. I like the dog.
Yeah.
The dog was cool.
Yeah.
Okay, I hate to say it. Thank you, Tim.
Wow.
See ya.
Oh, God.
Can't say he really lived up to that.
They're going to keep doing this because it's a thing now. So let's go. We're taking a break.
All right. When we come back, Michele from Glee wants you to know, I can read. I can really read. She's actually addressing the rumor, finally. Remember when Glee was on and that there was fans would always...
Oh, yeah, about whether Michele could read.
Michele could read,
Yeah.
which always seemed like it was just something that was made up because people were siding with whoever she was going up against at the time.
There were several.
There were a lot of people. Well, she's finally addressing this, and it has persisted for almost 10 years because
it was a thing. I mean, everybody kind of like Michele can't read,
and they would look for them like, oh, this proves that she can't read and that she's just memorizing lines. She can't actually read them. Well, she decided she was going to address this. You decide.
What was trending online more was Michele can't read. And Ryan Murphy called me and he was like, have you heard this rumor? And I was like, no, what's going on? And the fact that we are here all these years later. Give me I'm reading them.
I'm sick.
I didn't memorize it. Jonathan is not here to read me this. Okay, ready? I placed first in my debate competition and qualified for nationals. What does this word say?
Okay.
I mean, I couldn't see the
It
card.
felt spontaneous to me.
It felt
I'm buying it.
spontaneous. Definitely felt spontaneous.
I'm
but
buying it.
I don't know what was on the card.
Well, it was his reaction more than her reading it, that you could tell she was actually reading it. Unless he showed her that before, and he's just a really good actor.
He has a great memory.
Look, she always has an excuse for why she can read something. She's either being told something. There's the conspiracy that maybe she's been given things early, which I, necessarily maybe believe. But she also relies on her education. She went to Tisch. That's a performing arts school. They're not worried about you reading. They're worried about you dancing and singing, which she can do well.
You have to read at some point. There's no way you could not.
Hi, Shamika Sanders from Staten Island. I'm happy she addressed the rumors. It's been 10 years, and I know she's so proud. She mentioned in this podcast how she is the first person from her family to be accepted into college. She's better than me. I would have been cursed whoever had something to say about it.
Well, good for Leah Michele.
She took the high road.
What else you guys want to talk about?
Hey guys, it's Coco Louie coming to you live from PG County, Maryland, and I'm just chiming in on the Diddy situation. Cassie showing up, in general is going to, help with opinions with the trial. And I think the baby bump may sway opinions a little bit. The fact that one of the witnesses has gone MIA is very ironically convenient. So hopefully they're aware of whatever repercussions they could face from
They've
that.
been uncooperative from the get-go. Why'd you lose the dog?
So he was like nipping at my ankle because he wanted to be on my lap. So.
Oh, well, let's see him. Come on, we got to see him if you're gonna.
Say hi, Bentley. Say
Give him some shine. Bentley's
not into it.
No.
Okay. One more.
That's how Bentley rolls.
Hi, it's Taylor from St. Louis, and I just want to chime in on Simon Cowell. A couple asking him to judge them while they're being intimate is crazy. I don't know if I'm more shocked by the fact that Simon thought about it or that somebody
Taylor,
asked.
somebody offers you $200,000.
For me to judge.
Yeah, you're just judging.
There you go. It's just a matter of price.
That's the fix. We'll get him out of here.
Okay, we're taking a break.
All right, when we come back, the rumors persist about Meryl Streep and Martin Short. Are they an actual couple? I mean, why would they be making out like this?
What's that microphone above them?
Up to this point, Meryl Streep and Martin Short have not confirmed nor really denied. Actually, they did deny and say, look, we're friends. We're not dating. We have seen them at a lot of events together.
Charles.
But they are also co-stars on Only Murders in the Building. So when some people saw this video yesterday, they might have thought, we finally got him. Except there's a microphone right at the top of their screen there. This was on the set. They were filming something for Only Murders
And
in the
here's the
Building.
thing about filming something for the show. They know about the rumors. So they're totally doing
writing
this to
it
play
into
they're playing into this thing. That's smart of them. It's smart of the producers to do this.
But which came first? Were they dating first, or were they a couple on the show and then they started dating?
Chicken or egg?
Yeah. We'll never know.
God, it's just a conundrum, folks. We will see you tomorrow, and we will solve that.